truths and myths of home inspections. What do you got?
So I have a few of them here that I want to just address. The first one is all home inspections are the same because it's licensed by the state. So everybody has to do a great job because it's all licensed. And that could not be further from the truth. We have listeners driving around right now. That idiot who just cut you off, who's texting and driving on the phone and everything and smoking a cigarette and probably eating breakfast, they might be a licensed driver. They're kind of bad at it. So same thing with every license. Just because you have a license doesn't mean you're good at it.
Good point, Mike. I like that. That was great.
The next myth, and I hear this a lot as well. I've heard people tell this to me during a home inspection to my face. It doesn't really matter about the home inspection because home inspectors aren't responsible for anything. Yes, we are. So the state licensing requires us also to be insured for what stuff we miss. We are required and we are somewhat culpable for that report. And if we miss something that we should have inspected, there is action that a potential customer could take to get made whole, whether it's file an insurance claim or whatnot. So we are responsible for that inspection. I got two that kind of go hand in hand. I'm going to go with this one first. There's a lot of home inspectors out there who, quote, look the other way to help realtors close the deal. I know several home inspectors in the industry. I know guys in other areas of the country, other than like a couple. And I mean, there was one guy maybe about 15 years ago in Rhode Island that was a little bit infamous for this. But for the most part, those guys don't exist because we're responsible and we're liable for stuff we miss. We don't want to sit there and make everything pass, so to speak, so that the real estate agent can get to the closing table. I have no interest in whether or not you close on the house. My interest is, does this person get an accurate description of the house? That brings me to my next myth. I've heard this both ways now. I've heard people say, always use the home inspector, suggested by my real estate agent.
Yeah.
And I've heard people go the other way and say, I never use the inspector that is referred by my real estate agent because I feel like they're in cahoots. Now, neither one of these is correct or wrong. But what I'll tell you is I've been doing this, like 14, 15 years now.
Wow.
And we have several high producing realtors like your team, for example, that refer us. And you guys don't refer us because of the previous myth about looking the other way. You refer us because it's an accurate assessment of the house. A good experienced agent is going to know what home inspectors are good at it, and they're going to know what ones are bad at it. So at least take that into account when you're making your choice, but it's always your choice. You have to waive your inspection to get your offer inspected. It's not that big a deal. Just do the inspection after you already own the house. You don't ever have to waive your home inspection.
Yeah.
Period. End of discussion. You never have to waive it. If you're going to waive your inspection, make sure you have some money aside for an unexpected item that might pop up. And then if you do waive it, yes, it's a good idea to bring us in after the fact and check out the house just so you can see where you are, see what kind of maintenance is going to be coming due soon, and you can plan, as a responsible homeowner to keep everything the way that it should be. The last myth, my dad is a tradesman, like an electrician, plumber, house builder. He can do the inspection for me. I don't need to pay a guy to do it. We get a lot of help from dads. A lot of times, and sometimes it's okay, and sometimes it's a little bit frustrating. So what I'll tell you is this: if your dad is a licensed home inspector, perfect, use him. If your dad's an electrician, for example, he can probably evaluate the electrical system, well. That's his specific trade. But is he going to be able to, evaluate the HVAC? Is he going to be trained to look for mold, ventilation, roof, plumbing? He's going to be good at his trade, but not necessarily all those other areas that we have to be trained in to do a thorough home inspection. Chances are your dad is not going to be able to do the comprehensive inspection that you need when you're buying a house. The other thing, which is maybe a small part of dad helping out, the seller or the seller's representative, their agent, they may not let an unlicensed person go in and start messing with everything, taking covers off the HVAC and taking covers off the electrical panel. Like, I'm licensed to do those things, but dad may not be. Dad's not going to put together a proper inspection report like we would, where the buyer could go back to the seller and say, hey, we found XYZ. We'd like you to fix it, or we'd like to try to negotiate these kind of things. So without that proper inspection report that we give, negotiating is going to be an uphill battle for a buyer.